and welcome to our Key Stage 2 live stream session for World Book Day. Really fantastic to have you all watching today to celebrate today and think about how reading has an impact on our mental health. My name's Kath Thompson. I'm from Liverpool Learning Partnership, and I'm with Jenny, our reading coordinator from Liverpool Learning Partnership. Jen, why is reading good for our mental health?
Do you know, reading is incredibly good for our mental health. When we read our story, our mind starts to focus on the words and not all the other things that are going on in our life, maybe the other thoughts or what we're feeling. So stories boost our imagination and they're an escape from our everyday life. In fact, scientists have found that if you pick up a book and read for 6 minutes, it reduces your stress because your heartbeat it slows, your muscles start to relax, and your mind just starts to focus in a different way. So it's a really great well-being tool.
Wow, just 6 minutes.
Just 6 minutes, as little as 6 minutes. It's actually meant to be more relaxing than a cup of tea.
Wow, that's really good, because when I remember when I was at school, I really struggled to read. Sometimes just struggled to kind of keep my eyes focused on the words. And so I didn't really enjoy reading until actually I got a bit older. And one day I picked up a book that I really got into. And after that, I quite like reading now, especially when I'm wanting to sit down and relax.
It's such a relaxing thing to do. It's a really great, powerful tool to have in our well-being arsenal. And I think today's a great day to celebrate it. It's a worldwide celebration of reading, which has been around since 1995. Wow. And the idea is to encourage children and young people to discover books and pick them up. And young people will be getting their book voucher, which they can spend on one of the special World Book Day books or get £1 off a different book. So really good way of getting into reading. And actually, Kath, I've got a quiz if you want to have a go at it.
Fab. Bring it on.
We're going to be talking today about resilient book characters. So I've picked some that I think are particularly resilient. There's 10 different questions. Some of them have got more than one character in. So see what you can do. Have a go at them. And guys, you can tell us in the Padlet how many you get. So let's have a little look. What do you think, Kath? How do you think you did? Did you get some of them?
I got a few of them. I saw Wilbur in there from Charlotte's Web, and I loved that book.
Definitely. Let's have a look at who we had. You did definitely get Wilbur. Right, so we've got Tracy Beaker, Harry Potter, Hilda, who is not only a graphic novel character, there's chapter books and a really great Netflix series featuring it. Charlotte and Wilbur. So if you look very carefully on the web, Charlotte's up there as well. Matilda Wormwood, and Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy Pevensey, who went into Narnia. Roy, and we'll accept Roy Race or Roy of the Rovers. Anna Hibiscus from the fantastic Atanuki books. Paddington Bear, and Violet, Klaus and Sunny Baudelaire, who go through a series of unfortunate events. So let us know if you got any of those right.
Fab. Well, I can see already we've got a few schools that are saying they're watching. We've got Year 4 at St Anne's. Hello, guys. We've also got from someone from KDPS. So hello to you guys.
King David, I think.
Oh, thank you. So keep popping on the Padlet if you are watching, and we'll keep popping those things up. So Jen, why are you wearing a big bow?
I always wear this bow, though. I'm dressed today as a character. So I'm a character from the Rosie Revere books. And Rosie Revere is an engineer, but sometimes her engineering goes wrong. And her great aunt Rose, who is who I'm dressed as, used to be an engineer back in the day. And she says to her, "You've got to get things wrong before you can get them right." So I'm dressed as Great Aunt Rose from the Rosie Revere books. You got to say, Kath, you're looking really smart in that leather jacket. It looks really nice.
Thank you. Well, I've actually come today as one of my heroes from the book. That's Katniss Everdeen from a book, The Hunger Games. I just love her character. She has to be quite tough. She has to step out of her comfort zone and do things that actually she'd never done before. She has to be really, really brave. She deals with a lot of loss. She has to be separated from her family, and I just really love this character. So yeah, that's one of my favourite books.
Oh, you make a fantastic Katniss.
Thank you. Okay, well, we are going to introduce to you now our team from MYA who are sitting ready to bring this session to you this morning. So no more from us. We're going to hand over to Kate and Tony from MYA.
Oh, hello everybody. I am Tony, and you could probably guess that I'm not a human being. I am actually an animal. Kate, what kind of animal do you think I am?
Easy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's that?
Easy. A lion.
That's fantastic, excellent. And what flower are you? Are you a daffodil?
Flower.
Oh, you're a lion as well, brother, sister lion. Okay,
I'm the cute lion. I'm the cute lion.
You're the cute lion. You're my little mate. Oh, yes. Well, we won't even go there. Right. So let's talk about. We are in the World Book Day today, so it's fantastic to be here. Obviously, my name's Tony, and there's Kate over there, and we wanted to kind of like go back over the numbers. If you can remember from the Daily Express, we talked about our numbers on the rainbow from 1 to 10. So we just want to find out what number you are. And so before we do that, I'm going to tell you what number I am. And I am a number 9 because I had a really, really nice little session beforehand. And I'm a number 9. On the rainbow, Kate, what are you?
I've got to agree, Tony. I think I'm a good number 9. I'm really excited for the session, so I'm looking forward to this. So yeah, I'm feeling a good 9 today.
Excellent. Okay, so what we wanted to do today is quite simply, we wanted to talk about some of the things that are really, really key, that they're really important. And one of the things that we talked about with when we talked about the Daily Express, we talked about that word resilience. And, it's a word that's used all the time, but what does it really mean? What's the simplified meaning of resilience? It's about that being brave, it's keeping on going. Even when things are going against that, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. No, but we don't because we're resilient. So just tell me some of the things that you think are resilient. What do you consider resilience means there, Kate?
Resilient? I think I was thinking about it before. Sometimes we think the first things we think of are things like being brave, being strong and things like that. But for me, thinking about it today, sometimes it's about asking for help when you need it.
Absolutely. And sometimes resilience isn't just about what we have, it's all about what other people around us are going to be doing. So if I was in a race, for example, I've got people that are helping me to be resilient, that are encouraging me to go forward, to push on, to finish the race. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at a tool or certainly an activity that we're going to be doing that kind of like it helps us when things aren't going so good. So sometimes in our lives, things aren't that brilliant. And, it's the things that we then do that can help us or they can hinder us. They can make things easier or they can make things a lot harder for us. And what I was going to do is I was going to show you that through a story, and everybody knows the story that I'm representing. So I am a lion. So my story is all about the Lion King. And the reason that we've done it this way is because pretty much everybody knows about the Lion King. They all know about Simba. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to unpack that a little bit into what we call our stress bucket. And I'm going to ask Kate, actually. Kate, what is the stress bucket? What do we mean by a stress bucket?
So we use the stress bucket in the raise team to just talk about things that, things in our day-to-day life that can kind of, take our number down or make us feel a little bit stressed or a little bit unhappy. Lots of emotions, really. But if we think about a bucket and then you think of all those things that happen day to day and they slowly fill your bucket up. So you might be a little bit busy with homework and school. You might be missing friends. You could be feeling a little bit bored. And these things just keep filling that bucket up. And we can have different levels of our bucket. Some of us can have stuff that's filling it up halfway. Some of us can have really, really full buckets sometimes. And we all have the kinds of different things that go into those buckets, don't we?
We do indeed. And what I was going to say is if it was like a cup of water being filled into that bucket each time, eventually it's going to really fill up quite a lot. And it might even overflow in certain situations. But I'm kind of like, I think we should do a little trial, actually, because I want to talk about my little matey Simba. So
okay.
First of all, we've got our little stress bucket here. Can you see that? And you were saying that it's all the things that are going to be stressing him out. So let's think about, and I think we might even have a few little words that come up on screen at the moment. So we might have the things in his life that have really stressed him out. So the first thing that we've got is we've got some of his expectations. What's been expected of him? Oh, do you know what? I'm expected to be a king. I'm expected to behave in a certain manner. I'm expected to rule this little kingdom of mine. All of these expectations are put upon Simba, and he is expected to deliver. And it kind of stresses him out a little bit. And then there's things that's gone on with Simba. He's made mistakes, hasn't he? He has made some big mistakes. So there's the rules, as Boris Johnson would say, follow the rules. And his dad said, there are rules. There are things that you should be doing and things that you shouldn't be doing. You need to follow those rules. And he didn't follow them. And that created a little bit more stress. And then something that created loads of stress was he didn't follow the rules. And as a result of that, his dad was killed. His dad was killed and he died. And that created an awful lot of sadness. And I think Kath was talking about loss before in one of her books. And certainly as far as Simba was concerned, his dad died. It was a big, big stress. And then, it was about his uncle. He thought his uncle was there helping him. He thought that he loved his uncle loads. But actually, he lost his uncle because he realized that he wasn't really helping him at all. And so that caused him a whole load more stress. And then when he was kicked out of his home, he lost all of his friends. He lost the love of his life, and all the friends that he had created, they were all gone. And that created even more stress and that hopelessness of, what in the world is he going to do now? And there he was, all alone in the jungle, in the desert, almost to the point where he was dying and he was full up with stress. And if you can notice, okay, my little bucket here is half full up, but what's happening every time that's going on is it's increasing that. Now, I'm just wondering, can everybody see that little tap that I've got here? And I'm going to ask Kate, actually, what is this tap? Why have we got a tap on our little bucket here? Kate?
We're trying to show today how our resilient factors can sometimes, what we could explain as turn the tap on for our stress bucket. So as our buckets start to really fill up, if we have resilient factors or things about us that are resilient, we can turn that tap on. to kind of reduce some of the things in that bucket. And wow, how many really difficult things is poor Simba dealing with in his story. And you can imagine that his bucket's really, really full. But the thing I love about the Lion King story so much is there's a massive turning point in that story, and it's so uplifting, and I love it so much. And we're just going to kind of introduce it. And it's when he kind of is introduced to a concept called Hakuna Matata, and he meets these new friends who are probably very resilient themselves, and it's such a turning point in the story. And we're going to share that with you now. We just love you to enjoy it. Think about resilience, express yourself with a bit of dancing if you want to, whatever you feel like you want to do during this clip. Just enjoy.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. It ain't no passing craze. Du glemmer sorger som du möter på jord. Det en problemfri Tabu de straf. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata?
Da, naše moto.
Šta je to moto?
管它呢，跟着念就行了。广蹦，名字能解决你所有的问题。没错，你看鹏鹏，好。
שפומבה היה צעיר.
חזיר יבלות צעיר. איך אתה מרגיש? זה סיפור עצוב.
Κατάλαβε πως βρώμα γεσαψώ πιο γατί. Γιατί έτρωγε ό,τι έβρισκε από εδώ και από εκεί.
Μπορεί να είμαι χοντρός, μα είμαι ευαίσθητος. Vad var så svårt? Inga polare som ville bli med.
Vi var här hela tiden, det där var
아우 창피해.
그래, 많이 창피했을 거야.
이름을 바꾸려고 했었어.
이 이름 어때? 프레드?
나는 너무 실망했어. Harbarja med bana boltargo sugareli.
Ei, calmast buareli.
Hakuna Matata. Każdy chęci jest mir. Hakuna Matata. Nie póki tir.
Miasto brygge styrs och stretchar i mig. Isso é viver, é aprender. Hakuna Matata.
Welkom in onze nederige woning.
Wonen jullie hier?
Oh, wij wonen waar we willen.
Wij doen ons goesting.
Het is hier mooi.
Ja, het is echt heel schoon. Hè?
Народе, това е Simba.
Това, приятелю, е лъв.
Ами храната? Как ще храните това нещо?
Да, гладен съм. Мога да изям цяла зебра.
Започва се.
No, piccolo, temo che la zebra sia terminata.
È un antilope.
No, senti, piccolo, se vuoi vivere con noi, devi mangiare come noi.
E soprattutto, non mangiare noi.
Ecco un ottimo posto per racimolare del cibo.
Perfecto. A un lado, amigos.
¿Qué es eso? Este sabe un poco a nuez.
A esto es a lo que llamo umami. 黏黏的，但是还不错。
香水可口。
在地的哦，
对啊，好吃吗？
只有这里才有。
Trúðu mér, drengur, þetta fínt líf. Engar reglur og alls engin ábyrgð. クリームが詰まってるやつだ。大好物。
それいいよね。
お気に入り。
最高。
頭ちょうだい。さあ、坊や。
Tja dann, Hakuna Matata. Schleimig und doch riecht lecker.
Ganz genau.
War nicht gelogen.
Eibeutel. Ich hab Eibeutel.
Ces mots signifient que tu vivras ta vie. Nauczycie dwóch radosnych słów. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Yeah. Hakuna Matata. Ты свободен, а души ты хвоста. День любви, сам dorogi. Hakuna Matata. Hai încă o dată.
Oh, nu, cred că am terminat.
Eu cred că e de ajuns.
Dar băieți, de-abia am prins
Nu,
ritmul.
să-și dorească mai mult.
Nu vezi că te-ai îngrășat de când am început. Cântecul.
Da, da, între timp.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, I just love that song, you know. Absolutely love it. It was lovely to hear in so many different languages as well.
That's because it's well booked day. It's all about the world, and that was brilliant actually, because what that shows us is that pretty much everybody's heard of the Lion King, so you really be able to understand some of the resiliences that we're kind of like pulling out, and some of the struggles that he had to overcome. So we're talking a lot about stresses just before that clip, where we want to really think about how do we empty that bucket. So on the side, you can see that I've got a nice little tap, and I'm just like, I'm wondering, Kate, if you could give a few little suggestions, some of the things that we know, and even within that clip that we've seen, how he has overcome some of those stresses that he had initially. So
Oh, definitely. So many lovely resilient factors, isn't it, to the story? So you're watching in the Hakuna Matata video there that he's having lots of laughs and good times and fun and jokes, isn't he? He's found these new friends. He's in a new place to live, and he's like, wow, this is gorgeous, and he feels safe there, which is really important, isn't it, for resilience? He adapts his new diet. So, you know, he has some of those basics that we talk about when being resilient. So he has food, but you know, as a lion, he liked antelope and zebras, and now he's got to eat these grubs, and you know, they're slimy but satisfying, and he's adapting, and he's adapting to his new way of life. And in the story as well, he learns new skills, like he's swinging from ropes, and lions aren't supposed to like water, are they? But Simba's kind of going swimming with his new friends, and he's just loving life. And then I suppose, really, when you think a little bit deeper into some of the things that happen for poor Simba, is one of his key adults, one of the important adults in his life, if anyone can remember Rafiki, the monkey in the story, helps him learn about his past, and he says to him, you know, the past can hurt, but we can still learn from it. So although we don't have to forget what happens in our past or forget difficult times, we can learn from it, and we can move past it and kind of find new ways to kind of get on with our day. He also has a really best friend that comes back into his life, which is Nala, and they end up falling in love, so he gets that really kind of really important relationship as well. He's so brave, you know, another key factor of being resilient. And then he leans on others when he realizes, when he spoke to Rafiki, that, you know, he's got to go back and face his past. He doesn't do that alone. He does it with Timon, he does it with Pumbaa, he does it with Nala, and he does it with Rafiki as well. And they all go back to fight for his homeland again, don't they? And then one of the final things is that he does actually recognise his responsibilities and his obligations to be king. And although that's a really hard thing, and he's a bit scared and worried about failing and not being, you know, accepted, he realises that he is the one true king, and that he needs to go back, and he faces Scar and is successful, isn't he, and becomes king, which I just love. Every time I think about it, I just love this story. So resilient.
That is fantastic. Thank you very much for that. So we can see, if you look at my bucket now, it is starting to empty, because I'm doing a whole load of things, or I've been able to be resilient. And many of what Kate was just explaining are all things that can be found in our resiliences. You know, so even sometimes we might like to do a bit of fresh air and exercise. I want you to think about some of the things that help you out when you are really stressed, when your bucket is really full. What are some of those things? What are some of those taps that enable you to be able to cope with some of those situations, some of those things that are going on? So what
is your Hakuna Matata?
Absolutely. What is your Hakuna Matata? And just put some of those ideas down in the chat so that we can share them as well, and maybe give other people some of those little ideas. So we were talking about some of those things that I quite like doing. I like doing a bit of sport, like playing volleyball against my neighbours. What are some of the things that you like doing in order to get some of your Hakuna Matata, some of that back in as well? So Kate, have you got any?
I suppose, although we've talked about Simba today, there's so many other books and so many other characters that can show these resilient factors. There's going to be some resources at the end of the session that can look at creating your own resilient characters, and also some links to some other books that maybe you want to go away and read, or you already know about them. So yeah, we'd just like you to think about what makes a resilient character, and what are the resilient factors that kind of help that character, overcome some of the difficulties in some of the books that you talk about. And I'm not sure, I think we might be showing you a little video of some of the resilient reads.
One of my favourite resilient characters is a boy called Connor from a book called A Monster Calls. And the story's all about how he has to deal with his mum, who's really, really sick and dying. He's also been bullied at school. And he has to start to talk about his feelings and what's really going on inside him. And that takes huge, huge amounts of resilience.
My favourite resilient character in a book is this little mole who knew it was none of his business. And he spends the entire of this book trying to find out who did a poo on his head. And at the end of the book, he finds somebody to help him and he finds a solution that works for him. So when something horrible happens, find someone to help you and eventually you'll find a solution that works for you.
Hello, my name is Lalit Vijaydoro. I'm a consultant paediatrician at Old Hay Children's Hospital in Liverpool. A real-life character I found resilient was the author, Roald Dahl. I admire him in his autobiography, Going Solo, for being courageous, enjoying the oil company Shell, training to be a fighter pilot in the war, and traveling to foreign lands. Basically, he was an intrepid explorer, venturing into the unknown, and he showed great resilience in the challenges he faced.
One of my favourite books is The Wolf Wilder. The main character is Theo, who shows lots of resilience in the story. She suffers lots of loss, including losing her house, two of her beloved wolves, and her mother is also captured. Using courage, determination, and with the help of her friends, she is able to rescue her mother and get through all of the difficulties.
Charlie Bucket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl is my resilient character, and I've chosen him because he has a really tough life, and his family are poor and his relatives are sick, but he never gives up hope, and he's always trying his best to have a better life. And that's why I think Charlie is a really resilient and inspirational character.
Hi. So one of my favourite resilient characters is Leo the lion. Leo the lion didn't fit in the jungle because he didn't want to eat all the other animals, and that was what was expected of him. Leo wanted to be the other animals' friends and he wanted to help them. And I think that shows real good resilience from Leo because he stood up for the things that were important to him. And this is Leo.
My favourite book is Vicky the Viking, The Big Trial. Vicky the Viking used to be a children's TV series when I was younger, and Vicky was a great character. She always used to come across problems and think about all the ways that she could overcome them. She was great. I hope you enjoy it.
Jordan in the book New Kid by Jerry Craft needs to be particularly resilient. He gets enrolled by his parents into a new school and he doesn't particularly want to go, and when he gets there he doesn't at first feel like he belongs. So he has to show resilience to get used to being in that new school and to make new friends there.
I've got a great series of resilient characters, but the one that I like the most is the angry alien. And the angry alien crashes down to Earth, ends up feeling very scared, very lonely, on a planet where he feels so different and shows really angry behaviours. But he was aware of what was going on, he tried to stay positive and went on a journey and found a friend. And through that, he ended up being really happy. So this one for me is my resilient character, the angry alien.
What fab books, eh, Tony? Some lovely ones there, some of my favourites in there.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I love the fact that everybody's got some kind of resilient character. And I guess that's the challenge for you guys, is for you to tell us about your resilient character within your book. So as we've done by unpacking a little bit of Simba, what's made him resilient, what are the things that he's had to overcome. And sometimes it's looking back at some of those stories to look at the things that we've been able to do in overcoming some of those difficult times. So I just want you to think about that stress bucket, some of those things that are filling it up, and think about your Hakuna Matata. What are the things that you're doing to get rid of some of that extra stress and relieve some of the issues that are going on? What are the things that make it easier for you? What is your Hakuna Matata? And then just to think about that resilient character within your story. And as many of you as possible, just give a little example. Just tell us on the chats or on the Padlet just some of the things that make your character the most resilient. So
and just remember, just remember to keep reading. It's good to keep our minds healthy and happy. It's good for our mental health. Enjoy the rest of World Book Day, and we'll see you again soon on one of our live Daily Express sessions. Take care, everyone.
Excellent.
Enjoy World Book Day.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.